The lioness is behind the anthill and the wildebeest are walking in that direction. And they have no idea that she's there. It'll be interesting if one or two of them strays and goes away. Oh, interestingly, this herd of wildebeest is going back. So there's a possibility that the hunt happens there. And one of the most amazing things I've ever seen, about 30 jackals on the leftovers of the carcass. They took it out in no time. Around this time yesterday, what is now a black sack of bones was a spirited wildebeest who came to the water and decided to check out a funny smell in the other direction and headed off by himself.
My name is Anuru and I'm a nature photographer. My friends and I recently spent close to a month in the deserts, deltas and forests of Botswana, where we had some intense and up-close wildlife experiences. This is a story from that epic adventure.
This is our second drive at Nxai Pan, my first morning drive. And as soon as we got here, we saw a pride of lions at the waterhole. And now there's an elephant walking our way as well, so it should be interesting. I see a few more lions running towards the waterhole. The lions are definitely up and about and active.
Active as they were, the lions made way for the young bull elephant, who took his time at the waterhole. This is the main waterhole of the Nxai Pan National Park. Nxai Pan is about 2,500 square kilometers and is a part of the greater Makgadigadi Pan ecosystem. We're here in the peak of the dry season, and across the vast expanse of this park, this is the only waterhole with any water right now. So all the animals at Nxai Pan come here for water. And for that reason, the predators love it too. If they hang out here long enough, their food shows up. Thanks to the waterhole, our life at Nxai Pan was fairly straightforward. We were set up at the south camp, and the waterhole was about 20 minutes away. So most of our game drives were just a 20-minute ride to the waterhole and back. While there's always something happening at the waterhole, and I'll do a separate video on that, this video is about the lions of Nxai Pan, who unfortunately weren't seen for the rest of the morning. So the antelopes, wildebeest and zebras made the most of the waterhole in their absence.
So we're on our way to our second drive. This morning we had a fantastic time at the waterhole. Gayatri and Sumit were on another loop and they saw lions on the way back. Let's see if the lions are still there and if they're up to anything. Right in front of me are 3 lionesses, and they're doing what lions do during the day. They are sleeping, conserving their energy, showing no signs of waking up. These are 3 of the same pride of 6 or 7 that we saw this morning. I think we'll wait here for a bit to see if they get up to something. Otherwise, we'll head back and go to the waterhole. Yeah, the lions didn't budge. They were still sleeping. I guess they'll sleep until very late evening. So we left them and we are now exploring the rest of the park. We're going to take the big loop, then get back to the waterhole maybe in the next 25 or 30 minutes, by when it will be good light. So yeah, looking forward to another good sunset at the waterhole. Let's see what today holds.
We spent the rest of the evening photographing elephants at the waterhole.
We're on our third day and our second morning at Nxai Pan. And as we were driving towards the waterhole, Sumit radioed in and told us that there was nothing at the waterhole, but he saw lion pug marks. I'm headed back to the place that we saw them yesterday and see if they're still there. There's this huge white baobab on the left, which is my landmark as to the area in which the lions are. Though we have the exact point mapped on maps.me, it's good to keep an eye out from here about in, because it's not like the lions are always going to be under that one tree that we saw it. They could be under any of the trees in this area or even out in the open. So this is where sort of we need to keep our eyes open for the lions. So the sun's just about to rise on the horizon, and good time for us to be at the waterhole. Not too many lions around here, so we're probably going to head back to the waterhole on the outer edge and see if we find anything else on the way. That's the waterhole, and there's a huge herd of wildebeest waiting to drink. While we're shooting the wildebeest, they all cleared, and there's a lioness approaching the water. It's absolutely gorgeous. Like, should make for some good shots.
There was a lion following the lioness, and they walked up to the waterhole, then crossed right in front of our car.
So the lions walked right in front of our car, and there's a male on that side and a lioness sitting here, and we've got a great view of both. Looks like a mating pair, and we have them both in great sight right now. The light's really good. It's a bit windy, and it's perfect shooting conditions.
Just as I said that the light was great for photography, a dust storm built up. The lioness walked into the grass, again right in front of our car. When she walked this close, I noticed something interesting, which was confirmed by another tourist. This lioness looked like a nursing mother with very young cubs because her mammary glands were swollen. We didn't see cubs with the pride yesterday, so it's possible that the cubs are younger than 8 weeks, which is a very vulnerable time for them. So lionesses keep them away from a pride till they are old enough to meet the pride.
So we have both the lion and the lioness sitting right in front of our car right now, maybe 15 or so feet away. And the lion definitely looks interested, but we were also told that this female has cubs. So she might well be protecting the cubs and just keeping the lion interested. Otherwise, lions are likely to kill cubs that don't belong to them. So it is interesting overall. We've been with them for over 40 minutes, and there's been no mating, but the lion's very close by.
About an hour after they first appeared, the lioness settled into the grass, and the lion found a large bush and slept under it.
So this sighting is an absolute bonus for me, because Nxai Pan for me was all about the waterhole, it was about the elephants, but to see lions at this proximity is absolutely amazing.
With the lions away, it was business as usual at the waterhole. Lions wouldn't be up and about at this hour without incentive. The lion's incentive was the lioness, and the lioness's incentive were at the waterhole, walking back after a drink.
So at the moment, we have the waterhole to our right and the lioness to our left. The lion's gone back to the bush and slept. The lioness is very interested in what's going on at the waterhole because there's a large number of gazelle and wildebeest at the waterhole right now. And every time one of those herbivores walks this way, she sort of looks up and is very, very keen on what's going on. And the wind's blowing this way from the waterhole to where the lioness is sitting. So the herbivores have no clue of the lioness being there. And if one of them were to inadvertently walk towards the lioness, there's a chance that we might see a hunt. So that's what I'm waiting for. Will be interesting to see how some of this pans out.
Wind plays an important role in a hunt. If the antelope could smell the lion, they'd scoot. While it is hard enough for us to spot a lion so well camouflaged, it is harder still for antelopes because they can't see reds as well as we do. But none of them ventured close enough to the lioness, and she gave up and came to the waterhole. The lion promptly followed and checked the air. This grimace isn't a sign of aggression. It's called the Flehmen response. The lion is checking the air for pheromones left behind by the lioness to gauge her readiness for mating. So love being in the air, or not, is quite literal in the case of lions.
So the lioness crossed and the lion did too, eager as he was in her, and she's now sleeping flat on the ground there. I'm not able to make out if it's because she's just resting there or it's actually a crouching position waiting for something to show up at the waterhole. The lioness did look interested in the antelope and making the kill. The lion only looks interested in the lioness. And if the lion is sitting out in the open like that, whatever chance the lioness has of making a kill is not going to come about. It's 10:15 now and the lions are still at the waterhole. The lioness probably wants to hunt. The lion is thinking with only one part of his anatomy, and it isn't his brain. And the lions have just parked themselves at the waterhole, and while they're there, the water is out of bounds for everyone else. So there's a large number of ostriches and everyone else waiting at the periphery of the waterhole, too scared to get close by. Proper king of the jungle behavior.
She eventually gave up on the idea of the hunt and went for a drink. This is when I saw how thin she was. Her ribs were showing. She needed to hunt soon, both for herself and probably her cubs. And for that to happen, she needed to get rid of a pesky lion.
As it's getting hotter, the lioness is currently heading away, probably into the bush on the other side, and the lion is following her. I think the water hole will be operational soon.
That was the last we saw of the lions that day. We photographed elephants at the waterhole for the rest of the evening before calling it a night. Most meals taste better after good wildlife sightings. They taste even better when the said wildlife shows up for dinner.
It's October 1st today and the park timings change. Nxai Pan opens at 5 a.m. instead of 5:30, so we're here at 5:15 and it's a beautiful morning.
We're at the waterhole and we could see some lion pug marks. Not sure how fresh they were. We can also see an elephant, but it's almost practically dark. The sun is just about to rise.
As the light got better, it was business as usual at the waterhole. There was a giraffe and a herd of wildebeest at the waterhole until this happened.
So we can see a lioness walking towards the waterhole. It's been quiet really since morning, but now I see a lioness walking towards it. And she's very clearly like in a stalking mode, walking very, very intentionally. There's a herd of wildebeest here, and looks like she's been tracking them.
There were multiple herds of wildebeest visiting the waterhole. The lioness positioned herself about 500 meters away from the waterhole, with the wind blowing into her from the waterhole.
So the lioness is very much interested in the giraffe and the wildebeest. The giraffe is very skittish. There's another herd of wildebeest coming this way. Oh, interestingly, this herd of wildebeest is going back. So there's possibility that the hunt happens there. The lioness is behind the anthill, and the wildebeest are walking almost in that direction towards her, and they have no idea that she's there. It'll be interesting if one or two of them strays and goes away.
The wildebeest herds were taking a return path that was too far away for her to charge. All she needed was for one wildebeest to stray a bit from its path.
Really, really good to see you hunt. I think you've got some good shots. And I think between Sumit and I, we've covered a video as well as the hunt.
The rest of the herd looked in rapt attention for a few minutes and then went about their way. I suppose if you're a wildebeest that needs to share a waterhole with lions every day, being detached is an important life skill.
It's like the same lioness that we were photographing yesterday with the male. And I think our assessment of her not being interested in mating seems right, because she is not with the male right now. Had they been a mating pair, my guess is that they'd be mating right now. But she looked really hungry. She looked like she wanted to hunt. And for whatever reason, we don't know, the male's not around, and she did manage a successful kill today. She's feeding on it right now all by herself. But I suppose that in a few moments she'll call the rest of the pride as well. Sort of good to be able to track a single lion over 2 or 3 days and finally see them make a kill, sort of understand and predict their behavior, saying that she might make a kill, she looks hungry, and then see the kill happen in front of your eyes. So super happy with having got this overall.
A hunt is breaking news in the jungle, and the word spread fast. In no time, there were half a dozen jackals around the kill.
So it's been over an hour since she made the kill, and now she's just sitting a little distance away from the kill and chasing any jackals that come her way. It's also going to be hot in a bit, so it's going to be one of two things. Either she's going to drag the kill into a shade nearby, or she's going to call the rest of the pride here. It's almost 9:40 and it's still a bit chilly, so that's working in her favor, but the sun is coming up. It is going to be hot in a bit, so let's see what she does next. Let's see if she drags the wildebeest to her pride or she calls the pride here. It's now been over 2 hours since she made the kill. She's just chilling there.
She hadn't made more than a few bites into the carcass, mostly to cut through skin, clear out the guts, and so on. In human terms, this is the equivalent of setting a meal out, cutlery and napkins and everything, but waiting to take the first bite.
It's blazing hot, 12:50 almost, and about 5 hours after she's made the kill, and she's made no progress. She is sitting there with the carcass. Not sure what her plan is. We're waiting. I'm really curious to see how this pans out now.
As hopeful as I was for the action to build, nature doesn't give two hoots about my eagerness to see action. It works at its own pace. So the decision to skip lunch and stay back with the lioness and the carcass was an easy one. If such a market existed, wildlife photographers would be willing to trade a lot more than a meal and a shower to be around potential wildlife action.
It's 3 p.m. now and the lioness is still there. We have spent the whole day with that lioness and she hasn't budged and she hasn't had much of the kill. She's sitting out in the open in the hot sun in the middle of the desert.
Meanwhile, the waterhole was back to its busy self. There was a large Cape buffalo herd, followed by a group of bull elephants.
It's 4 p.m. now. The lioness is still there. She hasn't budged an inch. I think one of the elephant bulls got the whiff and he is looking in that general direction, inspecting what's going on. This might also be an interesting interaction. Elephants and lions don't get along very well, so it'll be interesting to see how this turns out.
The elephant checked out the lioness in the kill and then carried on his way, which is unlike what most nature documentaries have led me to believe. We expected a showdown of sorts, but it wasn't to be. Late into the evening, the lioness was still at the kill and hadn't eaten much.
It's 10 past 6 and it's the end of a longish day. We've been in the park since 5:30 a.m. 5 a.m. Yeah, we've been in the park since 5 a.m. We'll be leaving at maybe 7. That's 14 hours in the park. And not much has moved on the lioness front. She's still sleeping next to the carcass. We were hoping she'll come to the water, but no luck with that. There's a few elephants at the waterhole and made some good silhouette shots, waiting for anything else to show up here. But it's been a great day overall, so probably winding up in a bit.
Just as we were winding up for the day, a huge herd of Cape buffalo walked to the waterhole.
What an incredible evening. You can just see the light outside, and there's a herd of about 200 buffalo just came in just while we were about to leave. And it is one of the most beautiful sights I've seen, one of the most gorgeous lights I've seen.
Once they were done with the water, they seemed to sense a lion being around, probably because of the carcass's smell. The herd slowly marched towards the carcass.
The buffalo have now made their way to the lion. I don't think they've seen the lion yet, but they can smell her. And the lion has given up the kill and moved a little further away. I've lost sight of the lion, but I think the buffaloes have chased her away. We can hear the buffaloes grunting loudly though, but I don't think the lion's around.
We lost track of the lioness in the darkness. It was 10 minutes to 7 and time for us to head back to camp.
So another really cold morning at Nxai Pan, our last full day, and we got into the park a little after 5, about 5:20 now. Sun's yet to rise, but we came back to the waterhole and we can see a pride of lions. Last night, a large herd of buffalo chased the lioness away, and I think she's come back with reinforcements. We're just waiting for the light to get better to photograph the lions on this side. It's too dark to show anything right now, but you can hear jackals as well. Should be an interesting morning. Sun's yet to rise, and we've seen not one but two males, and across the road got some shots of them in very low light, and they walk towards the bush on our left, but I have a feeling that they're going to rest in the bush and not cross this.
We saw two, and you folks saw the female feeding. Right?
We saw the female feeding.
Males of the pride are around them.
Did you see them cross, or do you see any action this way?
They're in this direction, but I think they've settled in the bush.
Yeah, I think so too. ठीक है.
After looking for the males for a bit, we returned to the main event. There won't be much left of a wildebeest after two lions and a lioness have had their shares. and the lioness was finishing off what little was left of it. With such little food left, the jackals were getting restless and a bit bolder.
Around this time yesterday, what is now a black sack of bones was a spirited wildebeest who came to the water and decided to check out a funny smell in the other direction and headed off by himself.
Eventually, the lioness had a fill and left the carcass, and the jackals were at it in no time.
So what a morning it's been. We finished scouting for the two lions there and came back here, and the lioness went to the water. And one of the most amazing things I have ever seen, about 30 jackals on the leftovers of the carcass. They took it out in no time. Just the intensity of watching 30 jackals on one carcass was something else. It was chaotic, and there were fights bursting out everywhere. I didn't know which direction to point my camera in. Crazy, crazy scenes this morning.
They cleaned out the remains of the wildebeest in about the same time that it took the lioness to make it to the waterhole. This is the last time I saw lions at Nxai Pan. Probably my best wildlife experience ever. Not only because it was a hunt, but also because it was the first time we were at the helm, without a guide or a tracker, to guess what she'll do next, whether she'll hunt, where she'll hunt, has all been guesswork based on what little I've learned from documentaries, the internet, and some fieldwork. So every little behavior that panned out as predicted was a validation of my own understanding of wildlife. If you like this video, it'll mean a lot to me if you can subscribe to my channel. It'll also make it easier for you to discover the videos I share. The next one in this series is on the general chaos at the Nxai Pan waterhole.